So before I start the episode, I do want to just say a big thank you to everyone who commented on my last video and said such kind words, and also on my YouTube community page. I really do appreciate it, honestly. Now, with that set aside, let's actually get on with the episode so that I don't start ranting about other things when we should be really focusing on the actual episode. I will just apologize if I slur my words a little bit. I am still suffering with giant hole in my mouth, and I'm also suffering with some other problems as well, but it is what it is. It's stuff I can't help, sadly, but like what I already said, it is what it is. Anyways, let's back on with the episode. Now, this isn't actually the episode that I actually had planned to release this week. Funnily enough, whilst I was building that area, I built it while I was in quite a lot of pain and before I had my wisdom tooth taken out, and it kind of reflected on kind of how I build. Like, I looked at it and I was like, that's really not good. It was kind of just like slapped together and not very well thought out, and just it didn't kind of look like I'd built it, to be quite honest. Which I probably didn't. I was probably just on autopilot while just trying to put in an episode together, and then I realized that I just couldn't. I was in so much pain, and it's hard to concentrate when you're in pain. So I figured, now that I'm feeling a little bit better, rather than making it wait any longer, because I want to get back to doing an episode every week again so we can start filling out this series, I figured, why don't I find an area of the map that I haven't built yet that's kind of small-ish, and it's not going to take me a few days to build. I actually managed to get this all done in one day, which I was quite happy about, although I was very looking forward to building this because it's a sewage treatment area. And not only that, it's got a golf course next to it, which I've never built a golf course in this game ever. So leave me a comment on if you think I've done good or if you think I've done really badly, because yeah, I won't tell you what I think, because I'll be here all day, but I'd love to know what you guys think, because yeah. Anyways, like what I was saying, it's my first time building a golf course, and just seeing it on Google Earth really it really struck me almost instantly. I was like, wow, never built anything like this before. I kind of got to do this area, and it's nice and compact, and there's not loads of like moving parts to it, so I knew that I could get it sorted maybe within a day or two. I didn't expect to actually get it done in one day, which made me happy. I do want to say, however, that this is not a one-for-one, even though I'm following pretty much as much of the design as possible, mainly because I get a little bit kind of put off when trying to do a one-for-one, and because it kind of gets in your head, oh, it needs to be so identical and stuff like that. So for especially this series, I'm just trying to get the layout from Google Earth, and whatever I can kind of mimic and look as similar as I can without going and POing like every building and changing the colors of them and doing this and that. I will try and steer as close as I can to it, but I also like to put my own spin on it, like with this area here with the buildings, and using the assets that are on the workshop and just kind of POing some stuff and putting it together. And like the buildings to the right, we've used the vanilla ones out of the water treatment area, which was kind of cool, because I was kind of thinking of like what buildings I was going to use to try and mimic them ones. And when I saw these ones actually already in the water tab, I was like, you know what, they're designed and detailed pretty well. They don't look you know, like some vanilla assets, they kind of look cartoony, a bit blurry. The textures are not very good, and these ones, to be honest, I think they're more like up-to-date vanilla assets or something, maybe from a DLC or something. I'll be honest, I'm you know me, I'm modded so much that I do get some of the DLCs every now and then, but I'll be honest, I've I've played that long modded that I haven't really needed to kind of get any DLCs, just because I basically build Japanese. And don't get me wrong, when I saw that there was a Japanese content creators pack, I threw my hat in for it just to kind of support it and do that type of stuff, because I thought it was fantastic. And they were done by an actual creator as well, so they looked absolutely fantastic. Wow, what was I do believe I just went on a rant and then completely went off topic and then went on to something else. I'm so sorry. Do you know what? My excuse this time is the medication I've got from the hospital and the dentist. So I'm going to be using that as my excuse for this. Okay, so back on with the actual episode, shall we? Now I'm just going to be finishing up this area just by putting quite a few bushes and trees down and a load of decals for some dirt, just trying to get the area to look a little bit more natural and real. And the same kind of with the bushes and whatnot, because I never really used to do this in Project Art. I just used to do like the bushes and some trees, and that was kind of it from the detail pack. Whereas now I'm trying to make sure that I'm mixing like some rocks and just loads of different grasses and bushes and trees together. Now this area here actually isn't here on Google Earth, funnily enough. I just kind of wanted to do something a little bit different near the main entrance. I kind of thought of putting this little area together where there's some maintenance vehicles, where maybe if there's like a sewage problem somewhere nearby, they'll take these vehicles and maybe they'll go and have a little look, or maybe they use them around this facility. And that was kind of my idea behind it, really. Nothing too fancy, just kind of thought I'd just throw it in. Now, I was looking at this area for a long time and I was like, you know what? That's a lot of grey. That's a lot of grey to look at. And I thought to myself, how can I kind of change it up, really, make it look a little bit different? And I had the idea to use these green water section areas that you can actually use for sewage as well, if you don't make them out of PO. And I thought maybe I can make that look like unfiltered water or something along them lines, really, to kind of make it look like it's getting filtered and whatnot and cleaned. And then the idea was to use this water prop that I've got to just put one down and then just keep layering it over the top to just darken it, because I've tried POing them before and trying to make them darker, and it just kind of never really comes out properly. Whereas if you just keep putting the same prop over the top of each other, you can really get it to look like there's actually a water layer over it. Now this whole area here, what I basically did is I went to my very first episode and I just copied and pasted all these little things that I'd already made over there, and I figured, well, if I just copy and paste them over here and then I just grab little bits and bobs and just throw them around, I can kind of save myself some time and some effort, and just kind of like copy and paste them in little different areas, which I thought they actually ended up kind of looking pretty decent. Now, I'll tell you something that's actually kind of funny, but actually isn't funny really, but when I look back, it actually kind of is. I actually spent longer on this top area that I'm building now, that I'm going to be flushing out in the next couple of minutes, than I did on the bottom section, because I had a plan for the bottom section and already some buildings in mind. But this top section here, I went through so many different buildings, especially the two buildings on the left. I went through so many different buildings, putting them there and building them and POing them and changing them and just not liking them. And in the end, I just settled on this building here that I thought fit kind of nicely, which is actually part of an airport pack that I've got from the workshop. I know, right? It's for an airport, but it just blended in so well and kind of fitted the need that I was looking for in that location. But I don't know why, looking back now, why it was so difficult for me to basically fill out this area. It was actually kind of annoying at the time, funnily enough. Well, I say funnily enough, it wasn't funny enough, because I was getting kind of annoyed by it. What I will say though is I am I am quite happy with the buildings that I picked, because the other ones kind of looked a little bit too more like they're like a council building or an office building that I was kind of picking, because I noticed that on Google Earth the building that was there was actually like it was kind of tall, that it looked like, but I didn't want to put two tall buildings here just because I already tried that and I just thought it looked a little bit out of place and weird. Maybe to do with the scaling or something, I'm not quite sure, but I really didn't like it. But anyways, I'm kind of starting to ramble again. Oh good, I actually can see at the bottom of the editor the clips of the golf course, so we're getting close to the golf course now, so I'm kind of excited to kind of give my ideas and thoughts and stuff on what I was actually thinking when that part actually comes. But for now, we're just finishing off this top area here, which I was gonna try and go into like a load of detail for, because I noticed on Google Earth that this area here looked like it had a lower down section and then some sort of like conveyor belt that maybe went up and down. I'm not 100% sure because I couldn't see 100% with Google Earth, because I couldn't pick up the little yellow man and go down to the road. It wouldn't let me here, so I kind of just had to just kind of judge it from what I could see with Google Earth being a little bit blurry and everything looking a little bit mashed up in some places. So the idea that I had in my head to put here instead was kind of an older looking building that looks like it's been here for quite a few years, as if maybe it was the first sewage treatment area before it then got updated with the previous area that I built first that looks a lot more modern and a lot more put together. So this was kind of like the first. So it's going to kind of look a little bit run down in this area, and I'm going to fill it out with a couple of decals and stuff, and a lot of like props and stuff. But I really like these decals here. I use them probably everywhere, just because they blend in and just do such a good job. Like even if you change the color of them or keep them as they are, you can kind of put them anywhere in your city and they'll just look absolutely great. And what can I say? I love them. I probably use them too much, but hey, what are you gonna do? Now, this was what I was talking about earlier with the props that I'm just gonna put around it. Just a couple of them to make it look like it still kind of gets used, or maybe stuff gets stored here rather than actually getting used. At least that was the idea that I had in my head at the time. But either way, it detailed up quite nicely, so I was happy with it either way. Okay, so here we are finally at the start of the golf course, and it was kind of a little bit weird. I thought the main building for this golf course was going to be a little bit bigger, but according to like Google Earth, from what I was looking at, it was just a little building and kind of a longish building. So I kind of just copied that and kind of just didn't want to. I was debating, I'll be honest, on putting more of like a, what was the word I'm looking for? Not like a hotel, but kind of like a more official building here for the golf course. But when I basically left it to this. My idea was to put this down and then start doing the golf course. And then once the golf course was done, if I thought the buildings looked a little bit weird and kind of out of place, then I would replace them. But it turned out really well, so I can't complain. Now, as for the actual golf course itself, it may look like this was super tedious and annoying to do, but the fact that I could PO these, stretch these, and do kind of like anything and everything with them, and it just worked, it wasn't really that difficult, because there's 18 holes that I had to kind of fit in this small gap, and I've pretty much copied the layout that is on Google Earth, basically to a T, kind of. I've maybe changed the angle of one or two of them, because I noticed that on Google a lot of them were just kind of like straight. The more that I was kind of putting that together, the more it looked a little bit too uniform and safe. I wanted to add a couple of bends and curves and just stuff like that all around. So that was my idea. Now, I will just say that I am going to be cutting and skipping some parts out of this golf course, just because a lot of it is just kind of rinse and repeat. And once you've kind of seen me like editing and POing like one, you've kind of seen almost all of them really. And some of them I do end up actually tinkering with for quite a while and kind of going back and changing them and just all that type of stuff. And when I was looking at it in the editor, I just thought it didn't it just didn't look kind of like good to watch for more than like a few seconds. It was kind of just like, okay, well, I've seen this, well, what can I see now? One thing I do end up doing though is where you can see the little light square pack at the start of where you'd start your actual drive. I do end up POing them all later and kind of making the golf courses all the dark greens kind of touch each other, because I was thinking to myself, there's no room for me to actually fit a path around this golf course without kind of trying to work some sort of magic. So my idea is that you can kind of see now I've linked all of the areas with dark green from each other, so that once you go down to the end and you put your golf ball in the hole, you can kind of just walk over to the next one and so on until you're all the way around at the very end, and then you can just leave if you want to. So that was my idea of cutting out a lot of trying to figure out a way to put a path in, because I'll be honest, I did really try to put a path in and I did think it would look really good, but with it being such a small and tightly put together golf course, I just couldn't get it to work. I really tried, so this was my way of getting around it. And to be honest, I actually kind of really like it. You know, you're just walking from one patch to the other, no need for a path, you're just walking on the grass. There's a similar golf course to me where I live that's very similar. There's no real paths, you're just walking on a load of grass and from one light hole to another really. Now, I was kind of umming and ahhing how I felt about the golf course, to be honest, until I started putting the trees around it. And I'll be honest, maybe I went a little bit too far with the trees. Maybe there's a bit too many around it. I know I think that, so if I think that, you all probably think that as well. But yeah, I've left it just the way it is anyways, just because I removed some trees and then it showed a lot of things I didn't want showing. So yeah, the trees are my way of kind of hiding some things and trying to get it to blend in. So it is what it is. I really do love these little sand patches though that I'm putting all over. I thought they looked really great. They kind of really brought the golf area actually to life a lot more. And if that's going to happen, then I'm a lot happy for it then. Because up until actually detail around it, I really wasn't too sure if I was just going to delete the whole golf course and just put some sort of park here that you can walk around instead. Mainly because I feel like if I was going to do a golf course, I'd want a huge area for it and paths around it and stops areas to get food and whatnot and just a load of that kind of stuff. So maybe in the future we'll do another golf area somewhere at the other side of the city, and we'll make a huge golf course with a couple of driving ranges and all that type of stuff. Oh wow, we're actually almost at the end of the episode. I didn't realize that do you know what, it's actually come really quickly, even though today has been a lot shorter of an episode. I will be going back to my usual format very soon. I'm just trying to get everything squared away, but for now I do want to thank you all for watching, and like always, I'll see you all in the next one.